Welcome. This is our gentle class for today, May 4th. I can't believe it's May. Though I can't believe it's Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or any other day of the week because it's all, Monday is great because I do these 4 classes and then kind of gets my week launched. So there's always this sense of movement through the week, which is kind of nice. Although partway through the week, I'm like, is it Wednesday? Am I doing this or that? So yeah, when everything is sort of the same, it's hard to get a sense. So we're all who are here live are kind of in the same geographic area. So we had a little warmer weekend finally this weekend. And for me, I'm back to mostly clouds today. Maybe you've got sun where you are, but mostly clouds. And so I thought today we would pull out one of the themes from the Yoga Sutras that I felt really kind of reflected the time. So we've had a time, we've been all stuck at home, and maybe it's a blessing that the weather has been kind of uninspiring because we're less pulled to go out. But on the other hand, there's something so lovely about looking outside and seeing sunlight coming through the windows, or being able to go into the backyard if you have a backyard and getting some sun. So I thought we'd focus on the theme of light today. And light shows up a few times in the Yoga Sutras. It shows up all over the Vedas. So light was, and sunlight in particular, considered to be something that's very healing and very uplifting for our spirits. And there's sort of 2 main themes around light in the Yoga Sutras. And the first one shows up in the first chapter, and the passage is Vishoka va Jyotishmati. And basically it's saying that when we feel disconnected from ourselves, when we feel low, one thing that we can do to help bring us back to focus is to meditate on light. The light tends to have an opening, expansive, uplifting kind of feeling to it. And then in the second chapter, right at the end, when he's talking about pranayama, which is the breath practices of yoga, he says, let me get the Sanskrit in my mind. Funny, it was in my mind as a chant just before I started teaching the class, and now it's gone. But the translation is something like, when we do pranayama, the effect is that it opens the curtains or opens the covering of the light in our own heart. So it uncovers our own light. It's not like meditation on light magically brings light from somewhere else. We can imagine that happening, but really the light is within us, and it's connecting with light that's outside of us. I'm sure halfway through the class the chant will just come to me, and maybe I'll blurt it out then, but but the translation is more relevant to you anyway. So this idea that we have this inner light, and that inner light is revealed when we do the practices. And I say breathing practices because that's how it's translated in the sutras. However, our asana practice is also breathing practice. We're breathing with every movement that we do. We're bringing the breath and coordinating it in to the movement. So it can also be considered a breath practice or a pranayama practice. I just remembered. Tataha kshiyate prakasha varanam. So I knew, sometimes when you just let go of trying so hard to remember something, it pops up. Like if you've lost your keys and you stop looking for them, suddenly there they are. So there you go. So we're going to start lying down on our mats today. So go ahead and get comfortable. Oh, there's someone already lying down on my mat. But I guess fair is fair since I was on her bed. There you go, sweetheart. So you can go ahead and lie down. I think I'm going to have company today. Away you go. So you'll lie down. I'm going to stay seated. And the idea here is to just take a moment to let yourself settle. Focus for a moment on your breath, feeling the breath coming and going. Feel where your body makes contact with the ground and be aware of the periphery of your body, the edges of your body, where you meet the outside world. So where your body makes contact with the ground. And also feeling your clothing and the air on your skin. It's really getting a sense of the periphery of your body, the outer edges. And then start to notice more internally where you're at. So this isn't about trying to change anything at all. We're just really checking in and tuning in and noticing. So what do you notice internally? Sometimes we feel emotion as internal body experience, like the butterflies in the stomach, or heaviness around the heart, or excitement around the heart. But it may also be just being aware of physical sensations, your joints, your muscles, your organs, anywhere in your body, being aware. And then just take a moment to imagine a light, any kind of light. So that could be sunlight, it could be moonlight, it could be the light from a candle or a fire. And just take a moment to picture that light. If your light has warmth associated with it, you might imagine the warmth. And then breathing that light in as if you could draw it in. So you could fill yourself up with light. And then if you like, you can do a little gesture with me. So if you're lying down, arms come out to the sides like you're reaching out. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, you can bring the hands from the top of your head, sweeping down over your body, all the way down to your feet. You obviously won't reach your feet, but just sending the light to your feet. So from outstretched arms, bring the arms up and then sweep them down the front of the body. So as you do this, we're going to inhale, and then you can listen to the chant as you bring the hands over the body. And the chant that I'll do is called Jyotir Aham. It's just that phrase over and over, and it means I am light. So you can imagine reaching out and then sweeping down. Jyotir Aham. Again, breathing in, reaching out. Jyotir Aham. Like you're reaching for that light, gathering it in. Jyotir Aham. Spreading it around and through the body. Jyotir Aham. Again. Jyotir You can let the arms rest on the ground and take a few more breaths, imagining that you're increasing this light as you breathe, that every breath brings in more and that it expands in the body. So the quality of light is expansive. The quality of stress is contractive. So when we meditate and focus on light, we're focusing on expansion, on letting go of that stress and that tension. So take a few more breaths here, drawing that light and feeling yourself expand with the light. And then just let your breath be normal. So we're going to work with a very gentle bridge pose to start with. So you can bring the feet in underneath the knees, so your ankles or heels line up with your knees, and your feet being about hip distance apart. And your arms can rest on the ground, just palms up a little bit away from your body. And so very, very simple movement. We'll start with a little bit of a pelvic tilt just to prepare for lifting in the bridge. Inhaling, and then as you exhale, press down into your feet till your lower back flattens. And then inhale to relax. Let the belly expand with the breath in. And then exhale, press into the feet till the lower back lengthens and flattens. You can do a few more like that. And then next time you're finishing your exhale and the tailbone starts to lift, you can keep lifting with your inhale. You can lift all the way up and maybe take more than one breath to lift. So you're really taking your time to come up. And then take your time to slowly lower down, as long as it's comfortable for you, one vertebra at a time. If you're having issues with your back today, or any part of your body, in fact, please listen to your body and know that what your body says in terms of pain or discomfort, when to stop, when to go. Your body is the great teacher. I'm here as a guide. I obviously can't see you. So really taking care to listen. Right, if it feels comfortable for you, you might stay in that position for a few breaths. Try to find the most easeful version of the pose. So there's really no effort. Your legs are doing most of the work here. Letting the rest of the body be as soft as possible. And then find your breath. A couple more breaths here. Feel your legs working. And then eventually, on an exhale, let your body sink slowly down to the ground. You might want to bring your knees into your chest now, give yourself a hug. And any movement, so it could be a side-to-side rocking movement, the spine or the muscles that support the spine. It could be a circular motion with your knees, or perhaps a forward and back movement. Okay, and then bringing your hands over your knees, if it's possible, you could clasp your hands over your legs and gently add just a little bit more pressure, gently letting the thighs drop in. If you've just eaten, or if you have a little bit of extra COVID-19 weight going on, you might take the knees apart. For any reason, if it's uncomfortable to put pressure on the abdomen. Knees apart, and then slowly release the feet. then when you're ready, we're going to change positions to come upright. So you can roll over onto your side. Use your opposite hand and come up to an upright position, and we'll make our way to all fours. So on all fours, we'll do a little bit of work for the wrists. So the hands flat to begin with, and take your weight and just rock a little forward till you feel a bit of stretch on the wrists, and then rock back. You can move all the way back towards your heels, take all the weight off your wrists, come forward. You can move the shoulders slightly ahead of the wrist as long as that doesn't feel like a strain or that it's uncomfortable. Just asking for a little more stretch in the wrists and arms. If you're comfortable to sit on your heels, you can sit back, or you can sit up off your heels if that's better for your legs, and do a few circles with your wrists. Right. You can take the fingers of one hand with the palm up and gently pull them down toward the ground to stretch again the wrist and the forearm. And then take the hand the other way, so fingers down, and gently press on the top of the hand, very gently with this one. And then other side. And very gently pressing the hand down. Right. And then from this kneeling position, whether you're sitting down on your heels or sitting up off of your heels, we'll take a breath in and reach the arms up. You can pause for a second after your inhale and then exhale, come to child's pose. So we'll come all the way up, breathing in. If it's comfortable, pause for a second or so. Exhale, come down. Inhale, drawing in light and holding that light. And then exhale, releasing tension, softening. One more. And then from child's pose, you could stay here for a few breaths if you like. Again, the legs can be together or they can be apart. And again, if there's any pressure on the abdomen that's uncomfortable, knees apart is a great idea here. And then when you're ready, add some movement. So come up to all fours and either work with the cat-cow or all fours to child's pose. Circle the hips or wag your tail side to side. So find the areas of your own body that need to stretch and open a little. You can walk your hands one direction to stretch out one side of the body and then walk the other way, either with your hips up or down. So really explore this movement. What feels good for your body? Take another minute or so with that movement. Great, and then you have the option, if you want to come and rest in child's pose again, go ahead and rest in child's pose. You know, it's interesting when I'm teaching a class and I can see you all, I can kind of get an idea of where your energy level is at, but when I can't see you, I don't know. So if your energy level says child's pose is awesome, let's go for it, then do that. And if you want to come up into downward dog and feel a little more energetic and your arms and wrists and shoulders feel ready, you can come up into downward dog, walk your feet in place, giving the ankles and the calves a little bit of stretch. And then wherever you're at, so if you're down in child's pose, you'll come up to kneeling, and if you're in downward dog, you'll come down to kneeling. And we're going to find our way to a standing forward bend. So I'm going to come through a squat. If squatting isn't good for you, then just maybe step your feet forward and come upright. If squatting is okay, you can lift slowly up from a squat into a standing forward bend. And let your head relax down. You could have your elbows on your thighs if that's more comfortable. You could clasp your arms. You could hang your arms. So take a few breaths here. Do keep your knees bent so your spine can be long and relaxed. When you straighten the legs, we tend to put a lot more rounding into the lower back. When you're ready, you can gently and slowly roll upright. So arms stay heavy and hang down. You're uncurling and bringing the head up last. So when you come upright, let's come back to focusing on our theme of light and expansion. So we're going to take the arms and turn the palms forward. Take a breath in. Raise the arms up over your head. You can bring the palms together as if you've gathered light and brought it into your hands, and then bring it down to your heart. Take a breath in here as if you could breathe it into your heart. And then exhale, release. Inhale, gather that light. Bring it together in your hands overhead. Focus and concentrate that light between your palms. Exhale, hands to the heart. Breathe it in here. Exhale, release. If holding your breath for a split second after your inhale is comfortable for you, you can add that in here. If it makes you feel agitated or short of breath in some way, just skip that. So inhale, reaching and gathering the light, bringing the palms together. You can pause for a second and then exhale, hands to the heart. When you breathe in, you're breathing the light in your hands to the light in your heart. You can pause and then exhale to release. Let's do that again. And release. Okay, we're going to come now into warrior pose. So you can take one foot forward and the other foot back, with the back foot turned to the side so your whole foot is on the ground. Now, if you want to work a little bit harder here, take your feet a little wider apart. If you want things to be a bit easier, keep your feet closer to each other. So we'll come up in warrior, bending the front knee, lifting the arms, finding a little bit of extension in the back, a little bit of a back bend, but we want to make that back bend without jutting the lower rib cage out. So if you think about keeping just a little bit of contraction in the abdominal area and finding a lift through the heart. So from here, and we'll straighten the leg and bring the arms down back to neutral. So inhale, lift in the heart, but keep the belly controlled. Exhale, come back. Stay for a few breaths in warrior one. You may not be able to see, but hands over your head can be facing each other. Draw your shoulder blades down and think about externally rotating, which actually means that the upper part of the arm, the part that's forward, is coming in a little bit. So your hands are facing each other. They could even turn a little bit so the pinky fingers are facing each other. Great, and then we're going to release the arms, turn the palms back, palms up on the lower back, and come forward over the leg. Keep the back of the neck long. So we'll come up, rotating the arms open overhead, breathing in. You could pause for a second, and then breathe out, coming over your bent knee, back of the neck long, so you're looking down. Again. Pressing into the back foot as you lift. Keep that pressure for balance as you come forward. Great. Lifting up this time and releasing the arms to your sides. You can step the feet back together and we'll move to the other side. So I'm going to let my puppy out. You can take the other foot forward. And same thing here. So we'll start with warrior one, lifting, finding that lift in the heart, but without overarching the lower back. So the bones of your hips in front and the bottom of your ribs, so top of your hips, bottom of your ribs, gently pulling them together, but finding that lift in the heart. So inhale, heart lifts, exhale, leg straightens, arms come down. And when you straighten the leg, it brings the spine more neutral. So inhale here, exhale, come back. Sometimes when people do this with warrior one, if there's stiffness in the hips or in the low back, you might find yourself coming forward. You might find yourself doing warrior by coming forward. But I would suggest maybe don't bend your knee quite as much and see if you can keep your body centered over your legs. See if how that feels. And sometimes it's hard to tell. Sometimes just being in front of a mirror at some point when you're practicing can be helpful. Here, let's add the forward bend. So we'll bring the arms back, turn the palms up, keep the chest lifted, but let the neck relax as you come forward. And then reverse to inhale and lift. Exhale, come forward. Good, maybe a couple more like that. Okay, lifting all the way up. And again, we can lower the arms, straighten the front leg, and bring your feet back together. Just give everything a little shake, just let it go. And then we'll do a similar movement with the arms, but with both legs together for a forward bend. So turning the palms out, lifting up. If you like, you can bring the palms together over your head. Pause for a moment and then exhale, bend your knees, come forward, turn the palms up on your low back into a forward bend. Inhale, you're lifting, rotating the arms to lift and open. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, gathering light, concentrating it within your hands, spreading it out, bringing it behind you. One more time here. And this time coming up, gathering all that light, focusing it between your palms, bringing your hands together, bringing the hands back to the heart. And take a moment here to breathe. So I mentioned earlier, we can meditate on the light, that light that's outside of us. We can also be aware of and connected to the light that's inside of us. And when we concentrate the light and imagine it in our hands, bring it to the heart, it's like two candle flames coming together and the light increases as we breathe. So take a few breaths here. Feel that expansion around the heart. And if that's not what you're feeling today, if you're feeling heavy or dense or tired, see if perhaps connecting with compassion rather than light feels more fitting for you today. Right, releasing the hands, we'll take the feet apart. So again, the wider your legs are apart, the more challenging the pose becomes. So you can keep it a little narrower, go a little wider. I'm kind of in between here. So we'll take a breath in and reach the arms up. Exhale, bend your knees a little, come forward. Let your head release. And we'll come all the way up again, reaching up with the breath in. And coming forward. You want the legs to be apart enough that your fingertips come to the ground. So if you can't quite reach the ground, just try wiggling your feet a little bit further apart. And then we're going to bend one knee and walk the hands towards that side, letting the head come toward the knee. Breathing here. For those of you who are more flexible, you can reach the arm that corresponds with the leg that's bent behind and bring the hand to the foot. The other hand on top, let the head come down. And then we'll walk over to the other side. So bending that knee, you can either just walk the hands close to the foot, or you might take the arm under the leg, bring the hand to the foot, other hand to meet that hand, or somewhere in between. Let your head release. And then we'll walk back to the center. Bend your knees, come up onto your fingertips. Find a nice flat back. Breathe here. And if you're feeling strong, you can try taking the arms to the sides in this position. And then from there, lifting up. Taking the arms overhead and releasing down. Let's wiggle the feet in again. About hip distance or a little wider, and we'll roll the shoulders. So one shoulder rolls back and then the other. Let your whole body move. Let your head go. If you want a little more, you can bring the elbows up or even the whole arm reaching. And eventually coming back to the center. You can bring your hands to your hips, bend and straighten your knees a few times. And you can try a few rotations with the hips. One way and then the other. Right, and then back to the center. You can keep the feet a little bit wider, so shoulder distance or a little wider, whatever's comfortable for you. Exhale, soften your knees. Inhale, lift up one arm. And as you exhale, reach straight over to the other side, reaching up as you go. As you inhale, you'll come to the center and you'll switch arms. You can pause for a second if you like, and then exhale to the other side. Inhale like we're drawing in light with every breath, holding that light if it's comfortable to hold the breath for a second, and then exhaling to release. Inhaling, drawing that light in, holding if that's comfortable, exhaling to release to the side. Inhale. Go at your own pace. My breath may not be the same rate as your breath. One more to either side. Great. Coming back to the center when you've done. both sides evenly. If you remembered which side you started with, you can end with the other side or just make your best guess. And let's do another forward bend to come back to alignment. So here, and then exhale. The hands can come to the legs or to the ground. Do that a few times, moving dynamically. Inhale up if you like. You can add that little bit of a pause after your inhale, and then exhale, flow forward. And release. Let's bring the feet in so they're under the hips again. And we're going to work with a posture called Utkatasana, or chair pose, or half squat. In fact, Ardha Utkatasana is the correct name, so half squat rather than the full squat. So in the half squat, it's like we're just sitting in a chair, and it could be a fairly high chair for you, or it could be a lower chair, depending on how much you want to strengthen your legs. So we'll start by taking a breath in, reaching the arms overhead. And then as you exhale, you're going to bend your knees, send your hips back, keep your chest lifted, and come to sit. So if I show you from the side, we're going to inhale and lift. As you exhale, you want to keep the knees back over the ankles, chest lifting a little. I'm not sure what the kitty found there. Lifting up. And if you want to work a little harder, keep your arms out front as you sit down, or you can even keep them overhead, which is going to make your back work a lot more. Great. We're going to choose one of those arm positions and stay for a few breaths. So you're going to come down, keep the chest lifting, hips sinking. Choose the arm position that you feel most comfortable with or feels like the right amount of work for you. And breathe. Sit down a little more if you want to work harder. Lift your arms a little higher. If you want to work less, come up a little more and bring your hands to your thighs. Well, let's come all the way up. Breathing in. Exhale and release. Give it a little shake. I'm happy to report it's not a mouse he's chasing. It's a little piece of wood. So let's come back to mountain pose. Let your breath settle after the challenge of Utkatasana. And we're going to start to work a little bit with balance. So start by feeling your balance on both feet. Send your heels into the earth. Feel your legs become firm, yet not rigid. Shift your weight to one foot without pushing your hip out to the side. Just shift your weight. You can come to the toes of the other foot. Shift. Come to the toes. You could even lift your foot. And just check in with how your balance is today. So maybe come onto one foot, keep the other leg bent, just to let the leg move around a bit. Let the body move around. Just check in, is balance working for me today, or is it more challenging today? You can try the other side. Just checking in. Right. And then come back to mountain pose. So if you checked in with your balance and you're finding yourself a little off balance today, that's okay, no judgment. You might want to do what I'm going to do here, which is to take a chair and have that chair handy by my mat. So it's totally up to you. And then we're going to work with the pose called Dancer, which I think most of you are familiar with. So for this pose, you are either going to take a hold of your foot or your ankle behind you, or you can take a hold of your pant leg right here. Or if you have a belt handy, I actually do have a belt handy. It's literally a belt. Right, you could use something like this, right, to hold the leg up. So whatever's handy. The nice thing is that you could use a sock, you could use, whatever's handy. This belt literally just happened to be sitting over there. So from here, you can reach back to take a hold of the top of your foot or your ankle, and we're going to start by bringing the knees together side by side, drawing the heel toward the hip. And then, just as we talked about earlier, when we were in warrior, we want to try and bring the hips and ribs a little closer to each other in the front, not by tucking and rounding, just by gently engaging the abdominal muscles, and then lifting the heart as you draw the heel in. You can use your chair for support if you like or not. And then let's release. Bend and straighten both knees a few times to release any tension that you might have brought into the standing leg. And then we can try the other side. So same thing here. Shift your weight, take the foot. Heel comes toward the hip. Knees are side by side. You're engaging the abdominal muscles a little bit, but not so much that you end up tucking the tailbone or pelvis under. So you're still in a neutral pelvis. You just don't want to overarch the lower back and jam up those lower vertebrae of the spine. Good. If you want a little more stretch, you can move the knee back a bit if you need to. You may not need to. Right, and then let's release. Again, just give everything a little shake. We'll try dancer pose. So in dancer pose, we go from that neutral position, holding the leg, and we start to spread it out a little bit more. So we looked a little bit earlier about rotation of the shoulders. So when the arm goes back, we actually want the shoulder to rotate forward and down. So as we take the leg and it goes back, we're actually resisting forward with the shoulder a little bit. So you can go ahead and take a hold of your foot. Use your chair if you need, or your wall, or whatever you've got. And then as you pull down with that foot, feel how your shoulder wants to get pulled back. You're going to resist. So you're feeling that the shoulder's working and the leg is working. I don't know if you can hear my poor cat. He sounds like he's being terrorized, but he just wants to go outside. But he's an indoor cat. He hasn't quite figured that out yet. Right, so from here, you can start to take the knee back, pressing the foot into the hand. As the shoulder gets pulled, you're going to resist forward. And this creates a strength focus to the pose. Right? We could just really take it out far and focus more on flexibility, but we're going to focus more on strength and containment. That's going to protect the shoulder. So drawing forward, the other arm can lift. You can reach and tip a little forward if you like. And breathe. So we've been on this side for a bit now. If you've been there the whole time, you may be ready to come out. If you want to stay a little longer, go ahead. When you come out, you're going to bring in the knees back together, lower the arm, release the leg. Your standing leg's doing a lot of work there as well, so you can give it a shake. Again, let yourself settle into Tadasana before you do the other side. Take your time. When you're ready, shift your weight, and you can use your chair or not. You can pick up your leg. Again, think about that forward position of the shoulder. So you're resisting forward, not letting it get pulled back by the leg. The other arm can reach up, and here you have the palm facing to the side where your other hand would be if it were overhead. And then as you start to press the foot back, you're resisting forward with the shoulder, coming into a nice controlled dancer. Breathing here. When you're ready to come out, you can bring the knees together, lower the arm, slowly release the leg, and give it all a shake. Great. And I'm going to move this chair out of the way again. And we're going to, you can come kind of near the front of your mat, sort of 2/3 forward on your mat. Turn the palms out, take a breath in and lift. Find that little lift in the heart, breathing in light. Exhale, bend your knees, fold forward. Let your head release. Inhale, hands to shins, lengthen. Exhale, fold forward. Again, let the head release. Take a couple of breaths here. And then we're going to find our way back to all fours. So if you want to step back to downward dog first, you're welcome to do that. If you want to come straight to all fours, go ahead. When you get back to all fours, either working with the cat-cow or moving from the cow to child's pose. Go at your own pace now. As always, go at your own pace. Let your attention move inward. Feel the fullness of the breath on the inhale. If it helps, you can add that little pause after the inhale, holding the light and then letting go of tension, letting go of any holding as you exhale. So do a few more at your own pace, whatever's comfortable for you. If you want to vary the movement and circle the hips or do something else here that would feel good, by all means, do that. And then we're going to come from all fours, taking the hands forward of the shoulders. And if this isn't comfortable for you, you can come onto your belly in any way that works better for you. We're going to come to, I'm going to come to a kneeling plank. So I'm keeping control by engaging the muscles of my core, bringing my body in a straight line from knees to shoulders without sagging or lifting my bum, so trying to get a nice straight line. From there, I'm going to bend my elbows and let my body kind of roll to the ground. So thighs, belly, chest, ultimately forehead. If you don't have a microphone, you may be able to bring the forehead down more easily. And then you can bring the arms forward so that the hands are on either side of your face. So we're going to press down into the hips, gently engage the buttocks and the thighs. Really anchor yourself through your lower body, and then with your hands on the ground and your forearms on the ground, you're going to pull back towards your hips. As you anchor the hips down, find length in your spine, find a little traction, breathe here. Fill the back of your body with breath. Tractioning a little bit here by pressing down into the hips, pulling back with the arms. And with that little bit of traction engaged, we're going to next inhale, lengthen and lift the chest. And then exhale, keep lengthening as you lower down. Again, lengthen and lift. Lengthen and lower. If you want to work a little bit more with your strengthening your back, as you lift, you can also lift the arms now and then lower everything. And if you still want to work a little bit more, you can lift the legs and the arms and the chest. Breathing in, exhale, release. And then if you like, you can stay for a few breaths in the back bend, whatever version is best for you. Try not to look forward, so there's nothing to see in front of you. Let your head look, or let your gaze look down so the back of the neck is long. Right, when you're ready, release down. We're going to roll right over, so you can just go from your belly onto your back. When you get onto your back, knees to chest, moving forward. and back to release after the back bend. So you exhale as the knees come in. Inhale, the knees move away. If there's other movement that might feel good, like circling or just hugging the knees or rocking side to side, you can choose another movement that would feel good. Eventually releasing your feet to the floor, arms to the sides, and we'll move into the gentle spinal twist. So if you want to coordinate this with your breathing, you're going to exhale as the knees go to the side, your head turning the opposite direction. And then inhale, knees to center, head to center. Exhale, going the other way. Inhale, back to center. And continue a few more times at your own pace. Take your time with the twist. Whenever you feel complete, when you feel ready to be done with the twist, you'll come back to the center. There's no rush. If you really love the twist and it feels great, you could even stay for a few breaths each side. We're going to do a counter pose and then move into Shavasana next. So whenever you're ready, you want to bring the spine back to alignment with something that's symmetrical. So bringing the knees back into the chest, moving forward and back as we did a moment ago is a nice option. Or you could stretch the legs out toward the ceiling, arms toward the sides or overhead, and then back to the center. So as long as you're moving dynamically in a symmetrical way, you're bringing the spine and the hips back to alignment after twisting before we come to Shavasana. So when we head into Shavasana, we want the body to feel as aligned and sort of in tune as possible. So if there's anything that you want to do that's going to help you feel more aligned and in tune, you can go ahead and do that movement. If you want to put on some extra clothing so that you're sure that you're warm enough for Shavasana, you can do that. So take your time, give you a minute or so to do whatever you need to do to get ready, to get settled, to be comfortable in Shavasana. And when you do get settled, come back to your breath. Now put a little bit more of your attention and emphasis on the exhalation. So you're breathing in normally. Exhale. Let the exhale be full, complete. Following it right to the end of your breath without forcing or pushing or straining with your breath. Inhale, exhale. Let go of the effort of the practice. Let go of the need to do anything. Let go of the need to be productive. So let all of that go. We spent the last hour or so focused on light, breathing in the light, Feeling perhaps a little bit of expansiveness with that light, with the breath. And now take a moment to let your body relax. Feel the weight of your head sink down into the earth, and the muscles of your face soften and release. Let go of any holding around your mouth, the jaw, the lips, the tongue. See if you can relax all the way through to the root of your tongue, the back of your throat. And then relax down into the throat and the neck. And feel those big muscles from the base of your skull down into your shoulder blades, letting go. Feel your arms and hands release. And bring your awareness to your hands. Notice any sensations that may be present in your hands, particularly the palms of your hands. What are you aware of? What do you notice? Could you relax your hands even more? Bring your awareness now to your rib cage and feel the gentle rise and fall with your breath. There's nothing you need to do to help you to breathe here. Letting the breath come and go. Feel your belly and lower back soften, and let the weight of your pelvis get even heavier. Drop down through your hips. Relax the muscles of your buttocks. Soften your thighs and your knees. Relax your calves, shins, ankles. And bring your awareness down to your feet. Notice any sensations in your feet. If you can't feel your feet, which is quite normal, especially when we're relaxed and still, you might want to wiggle your toes, or you could just notice, hey, I don't really feel my feet right now. Or be with whatever sensations are present. Breathing in, breathing out. If you find the image helpful, you can imagine breathing light in again as if you're filling yourself with light. Breathing that light right to your fingers and toes, right to the crown of your head, as if every breath in expands the light in your being. You may even imagine that light shining through your skin and creating a kind of aura around you. And as you continue to breathe and invite the light within and around you to shine, I'll share with you a slightly expanded version of the chant from earlier. And this version is just asking the light to come into various parts of ourselves to create a sense of expansion and purification. Om Annamaya me Shudhyantam Jyotiraham Pranamaya me Shudhyantam Jyotiraham Manomaya me Shudhyantam Jyotiraham Vijnanamaya me Shudhyantam Jyotiraham Anandamaya me Shudhyantam Jyotiraham Viraja Vipapma Bhuya Sagasvaha Om. So now you could imagine calling that light into your heart, all of that light that's expanded in you and around you, as if you're breathing it back into your heart, calling it back in, drawing it back in, as if you could compress it into a little seed. And knowing that you can carry, that you do carry this seed of light within you, even when you don't feel it, when you're not aware of it, when you feel full of darkness and heaviness, there is this little seed of light within you. And just by focusing on the breath, taking some deep breaths and focusing and meditating on the light, you can awaken this light that's already there. So gradually let your breath deepen. You can start to add some movement, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Eventually you can, when you're ready, roll onto your side. And if you want to stay in Shavasana, you're always welcome to stay a little longer. If you're ready to come out, roll to your side and eventually make your way back upright. And if you've decided to stay lying down, you can still do this last part lying down. You can also do it seated. You'll bring the hands to the heart, one hand over the other. And take a moment to imagine someone who you know could use a little extra light. Maybe they're down or depressed, challenged. Maybe they're working out in the world in healthcare or food delivery in some aspect. Maybe it's someone in your family that you know is struggling, whether they're with you or far away. Take a moment to create an intention of doing something concrete, even if it's just a text message or a quick phone call. but doing something to let this person know that you're thinking of them. And then energetically sending some light out. And when we send out light from our heart, it only increases, it never depletes. So breathing in and then sending that light out in a gesture, whatever works for you. It could be as I'm doing, which is just separating my hands out in front and bringing them back to the heart. For you, it might feel more expansive to lift the arms or to offer to the earth. So whatever feels right for you, just reconnecting with the light in the heart, sending it out, reconnecting, sending it out. And then eventually drawing the hands back together. Reconnecting with your own light. And know that sometimes our light becomes obscured. It's difficult or impossible for us to see. But know that that light is there. That with enough focus, with enough effort, with enough time, we will reconnect with that light in ourselves. Namaste.